On screen, the Dirty Dozen were 12 doomed soldiers who became heroes, but off screen, the actors faced battles far tougher than war. From heartbreaking loneliness and silent illnesses to shocking rises to fame, the true stories of this cast are more dramatic than the movie itself. Oh, are you a fan of this 1967 classic? Comment 1 if yes, 0 if no. Like and subscribe now because the truth about these legends starts right now. Jim Brown was born on February 17, 1936, on St. Simon Island, Georgia, USA. He is not only renowned as one of the greatest football players in NFL history, but also as an outstanding actor with many unforgettable roles on screen. Jim Brown's journey from the football field to the silver screen is a story of transformation, perseverance, and overcoming personal challenges. At just 31 years old, Jim Brown delivered a remarkable performance as Robert T. Jefferson in the film The Dirty Dozen, 1967. This role marked a turning point in his career, leading him to leave behind a highly successful football career and step into the world of cinema. However, Jim Brown's life was not always filled with roses. He went through difficult years in his personal life. His first marriage, which lasted 14 years with Sue Jones, was full of tension and even violence. Incidents involving assault led to Jim Brown being arrested multiple times, negatively affecting his public image and causing significant turmoil for his acting career, which was on the rise. The media once dubbed him the most dangerous man in Hollywood because of the troubles related to violence. Nevertheless, Jim Brown did not let those hardships define his life. In 1997, he remarried Monique Brown and lived with her until the end of his life, although anger and conflicts still occasionally surfaced in his life. As old age set in, Jim Brown faced serious health issues related to spinal injuries and heart disease, the consequences of his grueling years as a professional football player. He underwent multiple heart surgeries and spent his final years in peace, confined to a wheelchair at his home in Los Angeles. Jim Brown passed away on May 18, 2023, at the age of 87. He left behind a great legacy, not only in material wealth estimated at around $30 million, but also through his significant contributions to sports, the arts, and social activism. He is remembered as a football legend, a talented actor, and a complex figure with many inspiring life stories. His life serves as a lesson in the power of overcoming oneself, willpower, and perseverance in all circumstances. Ernest Borgnine was born on January 24, 1917, in Hamden, Connecticut, USA. At the age of 50, he became widely known for his role as General Warden in the classic film The Dirty Dozen, 1967. With his stern appearance in military uniform, warm, deep voice, and sharp eyes, Ernest Borgnine successfully portrayed the image of a tough commander who assigned difficult missions to a group of war criminals. This role helped him become an icon for powerful and strict military characters on the Hollywood screen. Alongside his successful acting career, Borgnine's personal life was marked by many upheavals and challenges. He went through 5 marriages, each filled with different emotional highs and lows. His first marriage ended because he was too busy with work, leaving deep regrets for his wife and young daughter. His second marriage even involved fierce legal battles over custody, causing him considerable heartache and stress. One of Borgnine's most famous relationships was with singer Ethel Merman, but their marriage lasted a mere 32 days, leaving a blank page in her memoirs. However, in his later years, he found peace with his final wife, Tova Tritzis. Still, the early years of their life together were not without rivalry, arguments, and feelings of loneliness under the Hollywood spotlight. From the 1970s onward, Borgnine's health seriously declined due to heavy smoking and an uncontrolled diet. He faced a series of illnesses such as heart disease, lung problems, and chronic kidney failure in his later years. Despite this, his optimistic spirit and characteristic sense of humor never faded, especially during his dialysis treatments. Ernest Borgnine passed away on July 8, 2012, in Los Angeles at the age of 95. He left behind an estimated estate of around $15 million from his extensive film and television career. His funeral was held with solemn military honors befitting the title of a true American veteran. Donald Sutherland was born on July 17, 1935, in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. At the age of 32, he made a deep impression playing Vernon Pinkley, a quirky soldier who fakes insanity to infiltrate enemy ranks in the film The Dirty Dozen, 1967. With charm, intelligence in his acting, and versatile transformation skills, Donald Sutherland quickly attracted attention and became a prominent face in 1970s cinema, contributing to many classic films. However, behind his cold gaze and calm exterior lay a life full of upheaval and challenges. His first marriage to Lois May Hardwick ended due to emotional distance and a hectic filming schedule, leaving him lonely in the ever-changing world of artists. His second marriage to actress Shirley Douglas also faced many tensions, especially when both were monitored by the FBI for participating in anti-Vietnam War protests, increasing pressure and conflict within the family. Political and professional pressures led to the breakup of his family, forcing Donald to be separated from his son Kiefer for many years. However, his third marriage, which lasted over half a century with Francine Redd, brought him rare peace in life. Although there were still ups and downs caused by jealousy and the pressures of fame, this was his most enduring relationship, helping him maintain balance in both his personal life and career. In terms of health, Donald Sutherland was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in the 1970s and later developed severe cardiovascular complications. In 2007, he underwent heart valve replacement surgery and lived with chronic arthritis, which increasingly made mobility difficult. He passed away on June 20, 2024 in New York at the age of 88 due to heart-related illnesses and old age. Upon his passing, he left behind an estate worth around $60 million, mostly from blockbuster films like the Hunger Games series and major contracts with HBO contributing to a highly respected cinematic legacy. Telly Savalas was born on January 21, 1922 in Garden City, New York, USA. When he appeared in the 1967 film The Dirty Dozen, he was 45 years old and played Archer J. Maggott, the most fanatical, ruthless, and frightening soldier in the group. His intense and powerful performance left a deep impression on audiences and paved the way for his legendary television career as Detective Kojak, one of the most iconic figures of 1970s television. However, Telly Savalas's life off-screen was full of tragedies and challenges. His first marriage to Catherine Nicolaches ended following the death of his father from cancer, a loss that not only caused emotional devastation but also left a heavy financial burden as his acting career was just beginning to take off. His second marriage to Marilyn Gardner initially seemed happy, but quickly fell apart under the pressure of fame coupled with betrayal and prolonged disputes throughout the divorce process. This plunged him into a spiral of alcoholism and deep depression. It wasn't until he met Julie Haviland, his third and final wife, that Telly Savalas found some peace in life. However, fate did not grant him lasting happiness as prostate cancer appeared in the late 1980s and later spread to his bladder. The chemotherapy caused him to lose all his hair, but this look became a trademark of the character Kojak he portrayed, helping him cement his place in the hearts of audiences. Despite declining health, Telly Savalas never stopped working, with acting being his sole source of life and passion. He passed away on January 22, 1994, in California at the age of 72 due to complications from bladder and prostate cancer. Upon his passing, he left an estate worth around $5 million, mostly from the success of the Kojak series and many other highly acclaimed roles, remaining an unforgettable icon in the hearts of his fans. Charles Bronson was born on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, USA, into a poor family of Lithuanian descent. As the son of a coal miner, Bronson had to work from a young age to help support his family. This tough childhood shaped his resilient character and quiet demeanor, becoming his trademark throughout his career. At the age of 46, he made a strong impression playing Joseph T. Vlatislaw, a tough, taciturn but loyal soldier in the film The Dirty Dozen, 1967. This role not only brought him worldwide fame, but also solidified his image as the Man of Steel, an unyielding icon of Hollywood. Though successful on screen, Charles Bronson's personal life was filled with loss and loneliness. His first marriage to Harriet Tendler lasted 16 years and was marked by difficult times as they both struggled with poverty before he became famous. As fame arrived, the distance between them grew. Disagreements over money and rumors of infidelity strained their relationship, ending in a bitter divorce followed by a prolonged custody battle. His life took a new turn when he met actress Jill Ireland, whom Bronson described as the only person who saw the real man behind my cold exterior. The two starred in many films together and became one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. However, tragedy struck when Jill Ireland passed away from breast cancer in 1990. The loss devastated Bronson, plunging him into depression and leading him to turn to alcohol to ease his loneliness. His final marriage to Kim Weeks brought him some peace, but old age and illness continued to challenge his steel spirit. In his later years, Charles Bronson battled chronic lung disease and Alzheimer's, a disease that gradually took away his memory, causing him to forget the names of his children and the roles that had made him famous. After undergoing hip replacement surgery in 1998, he withdrew from the spotlight and lived quietly with his family. Bronson passed away on August 30, 2003 in Los Angeles at the age of 81 due to pneumonia and complications from Alzheimer's disease. He was laid to rest at Brownsville Cemetery, Vermont, a place he once called the final peaceful home. Upon his passing, he left an estate estimated at around $45 million, mostly from the Death Wish series and film royalties, closing the chapter on the life of one of Hollywood's strongest and most resilient legends. Clint Walker was born on May 30, 1927 in Hartford, Illinois, USA. At the age of 40, he appeared in the film The Dirty Dozen, 1967, as Samson Paisley, a tall, quiet but courageous soldier in the group. Standing nearly 2 meters tall with a strong physique, Clint Walker quickly became an icon of the American Western genre, beloved by generations of audiences for his powerful, calm, yet deeply intense presence. Clint Walker's personal life was not without silent sorrows. His first marriage to Vera Garver lasted 20 years, beginning in hardship and ending with much tension. After the divorce, he married Giselle Hennessy, whom he considered the true love of his life. However, tragedy struck when she passed away from cancer in 1994. Giselle's death devastated Walker, plunging him into years of deep depression and loneliness. His final marriage to Susan Cavallari brought him peace in his later years, even as he faced the many challenges of aging and declining health. The greatest tragedy in his life occurred in 1971 when he suffered a severe skiing accident and was declared dead. A ski pole had pierced his heart, but fortunately, a doctor discovered his heart was still faintly beating and performed surgery that saved his life. Although he was saved, the accident severely impaired Clint Walker's heart and lung functions, forcing him to slow down and live more quietly in his later years. He passed away on May 21, 2018 in Grass Valley, California, at the age of 90 due to congestive heart failure. He left an estate estimated at around $2 million, mostly from his television career and real estate investments. His funeral was a simple ceremony beside his second wife, Giselle, whom he once said taught me how to love again, leaving a deeply moving image of love and renewal in his life. Lee Marvin was born on February 19, 1924 in New York City, USA. At the age of 43, he took on the role of Captain John Reisman, a strict, cold, but highly strategic officer in the 1967 film The Dirty Dozen. This role not only made him a top star, but also reflected much of his true personality, a man constantly battling inner demons and real-life struggles. Marvin's first marriage to Betty Ebling, 1952-1967, was a turbulent emotional storm. As a World War II veteran, he carried both physical and mental scars while struggling with severe alcoholism and uncontrollable anger. Continuous arguments, family conflicts, and violence shattered the marriage, leaving behind 4 children and many years of bitter estrangement. Afterward, he lived with Michelle Triola from 1965 to 1971 in a relationship that became sensational when she filed a historic lawsuit, Marvin v. Marvin, seeking a share of his assets despite them never being married. The legal battle lasted 8 years, leaving Marvin emotionally devastated, mocked by the media, and nearly broken psychologically. His second marriage to Pamela Marvin, 1970-1987, became his final refuge. Although his declining health made it difficult to find lasting peace, the wounds from war, including the loss of part of his intestine during the battle at Eniwetok, never fully healed. Coupled with years of alcoholism and smoking, he frequently suffered from stomach and chest pains throughout the 1980s. Repeated heart attacks forced him to rely on morphine to keep going, but the drug gradually drained his strength and life. Lee Marvin passed away on August 29, 1987 in Tucson, Arizona at the age of 63 due to a heart attack. He was given a solemn burial at Arlington National Cemetery, a place reserved for distinguished veterans. His estate was estimated at around $5 million, primarily from classic films like Cat Ballou, The Dirty Dozen, and many other war movies. How do you feel about Lee Marvin as a person? If you're impressed and find his story inspiring, leave a comment with the number 2. If not, leave a 5. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss upcoming videos exploring the lives and careers of cinema legends. George Kennedy was born on February 18, 1925 in New York City, USA. He was 42 years old when he played Captain Max Armbruster, a loyal, tough soldier and a trusted aide to Captain Reisman in the 1967 film The Dirty Dozen. This role truly reflected Kennedy's steadfast and resilient character off-screen. However, behind that strong exterior was a life filled with pain and struggle. His first marriage to Dorothy Galooly, a woman who had served in the military, lasted nearly 2 decades but ended due to the aftermath of war-related trauma and the pressures of life in Hollywood. Kennedy struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD), which caused insomnia, irritability, and withdrawal from social relationships. His second marriage to Norma Woman also ended in failure, as they married and divorced twice within less than 20 years. Despite a successful career, he was haunted by loneliness and pain, especially after the tragic death of his son in an accident. His third marriage to John McCarthy from 1990 to 2016 finally brought him some peace, although the wounds of his past never fully healed. Since the 1970s, Kennedy battled heart disease, a consequence of years of heavy smoking and an unhealthy diet. He underwent coronary artery bypass surgery in 2005 and lived with chronic chest pain for more than a decade. Nevertheless, he continued to work tirelessly in films, especially in the Airport series and the comedy Naked Gun movies. George Kennedy passed away on February 28, 2016 in Middleton, Idaho, at the age of 91 due to chronic heart disease. His estate was estimated at around $5 million, accumulated over more than 6 decades of his career, including an Oscar win for his role in Cool Hand Luke and hundreds of film and television roles. John Cassavetes was born on December 9, 1929 in New York City, USA. When he appeared in The Dirty Dozen in 1967, he was 37 years old and played Victor R. Franco, a bold, intelligent, and rebellious criminal with a wild charm and emotional depth that reflected Cassavetes' own personality. This role not only showcased his exceptional talent, but also paved the way for him to become the father of American independent cinema. However, behind the success was a marriage intertwined with deep love and profound pain. Cassavetes married actress Gena Rowland in 1954, and they became an iconic couple in the independent art scene. But behind the brilliant collaborations were countless nights of arguments and tension. Financial pressure always weighed heavily as Cassavetes invested his own money into his films. To cope with the stress, he drank heavily, creating a gloomy atmosphere in the family. Rowland once recalled that whenever he was drunk, the whole house fell into silence, with only the sound of the typewriter keys tapping and cigarette smoke filling his study. By 1985, Cassavetes was diagnosed with end-stage cirrhosis, a consequence of many years of alcohol addiction and chronic stress. He endured severe abdominal pain, became weak and emaciated, and had to rely on morphine to manage the pain. Despite his seriously declining health, he continued writing scripts and directing films until he could no longer carry on. His life and career were an inseparable tragedy. He was both a genius and a victim of the passion that controlled his life. John Cassavetes passed away on February 3, 1989 in Los Angeles at the age of 59 due to complications from cirrhosis. His estate was estimated to be around $5 million, primarily from groundbreaking films such as A Woman Under the Influence and The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. Robert Ryan was born on November 11, 1909, in Chicago, Illinois. At the age of 58, he took on the role of Colonel Everett Dasher Breed, a cold, disciplined officer with authority and precision in The Dirty Dozen, 1967. The role seemed tailor-made for Ryan, who had served in World War II and brought a military spirit to every performance. Despite his stern, commanding presence on screen, his personal life was filled with prolonged darkness and loneliness. He married Jessica Cadwallader in 1939, a smart and strong-willed woman who shared his passion for social justice and human rights. However, their social activism came at a high cost as they were monitored and threatened by the FBI and frequently blacklisted in Hollywood. The constant pressure strained their marriage. Tragedy struck when Jessica was diagnosed with cancer in the early 1970s. Ryan spent his days on set and his nights by his wife's bedside, exhausted both physically and emotionally. When she passed away in 1972, he was left empty and broken. Not long after, he was also diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, the inevitable result of decades of heavy smoking. Despite the pain, he refused to retire, saying, "Standing in front of the camera is the only way I can forget that I'm dying." Robert Ryan passed away on July 11, 1973 in New York at the age of 63 from lung cancer. He was laid to rest beside his wife Jessica. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at around $5 million earned through classic films such as The Wild Bunch and Crossfire. Trini Lopez was born on May 15, 1937 in Dallas, Texas. When he appeared in The Dirty Dozen in 1967, he was 30 years old and played Pedro Jimenez, a cheerful, skillful soldier with a kind heart. Much like his on-screen character, Lopez's real life was a journey from poverty to fame, marked by an optimistic smile, yet shadowed by the loneliness of an artist born to sing about hope and sorrow. Growing up in a poor Latino working-class neighborhood in Dallas, Lopez had to play guitar in small bars from a young age to help support his family. His path to stardom was full of hardships, as the music industry at the time was rife with racial discrimination, and he was often rejected because of his Mexican heritage. Nevertheless, with determination and a warm, soulful voice, he overcame prejudice. His 1963 hit song, If I Had a Hammer, brought him international fame and paved the way for many future successes. Later in life, Lopez continued to perform regularly in Las Vegas and Palm Springs, though his health began to decline. In 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic spread, he contracted the virus while recording a Latin music project. The illness progressed rapidly, and he was hospitalized with severe respiratory complications. Trini Lopez passed away on August 11, 2020, in Palm Springs, California, at the age of 83 due to COVID-19 complications. His estate was estimated at $5 million, earned mainly from hits such as If I Had a Hammer Lemon Tree and The Bramble Bush. Richard Jekyll was born on October 10, 1926 in Long Beach, New York. When he appeared in The Dirty Dozen in 1967, he was 41 years old and played Sergeant Clyde Boren, a disciplined and loyal military policeman responsible for overseeing the convicted soldiers on a deadly mission. This tough yet deeply humane role perfectly reflected Jekyll's real-life character. Beyond his career that spanned over 50 years, his personal life was marked by quiet sorrow. He married Antoinette March in 1947, and they remained together for half a century. However, the couple carried a lifelong grief, the loss of one of their two children, a tragedy that never truly healed. As he entered his 60s, Jekyll's health began to decline. In 1994, he was diagnosed with malignant melanoma, a rare and aggressive form of skin cancer. The disease spread rapidly, forcing him to undergo several painful rounds of chemotherapy. Despite his suffering, he continued acting in television productions until he was no longer able to work. Richard Jekyll passed away on June 14, 1997, in Woodland Hills, California, at the age of 70 after a 3-year battle with the illness. His estate was valued at around $1 million, accumulated over decades of acting, including his acclaimed performance in Sometimes a Great Notion, which earned him an Academy Award nomination. Ralph Meeker was born on November 21, 1920 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. In 1967, at the age of 47, he played Captain Stuart Kinder, a cold, tough officer representing discipline and order within the unruly special unit. With his deep voice and piercing gaze, Meeker portrayed a character who was both intimidating and tragic. During the 1950s, he was regarded as one of Hollywood's quintessential tough guy actors. However, his personal life was far more turbulent. He married actress Salome Jens in 1964, but just 2 years later, the marriage quietly ended, leaving behind a lingering bitterness. Years of loneliness combined with professional pressure and an increasingly reclusive lifestyle led Meeker into social isolation. In 1980, he suffered a severe stroke that left him partially paralyzed and forced him to retire from acting. His health deteriorated rapidly as subsequent strokes gradually took away his ability to move and speak. He spent the last 8 years of his life in a retirement home for aging artists, almost completely cut off from the outside world. Ralph Meeker passed away on August 5, 1988 in Los Angeles at the age of 67 from a heart attack caused by complications from multiple strokes. His estate was valued at around $1 million, most of it earned from his acting career in films such as Kiss Me Deadly and Paths of Glory. Tom Busby, 1936-2003, was a Canadian actor best known for his role as Milo Vlack in The Dirty Dozen 1967. Despite the small part, he left a mark on 1960s war cinema. After leaving Hollywood, Busby moved to Scotland and spent many years training young actors through the volunteer organisation CSV in Glasgow, including Billy Boyd, the star of The Lord of the Rings. He was respected in both the Canadian and British theatre communities for his dedication and passion for the arts. Although he suffered from heart disease, he continued teaching until the end of his life and passed away from a sudden heart attack in 2003 in Glasgow. His estate was estimated at around $500,000. Stuart Cooper was born on November 18, 1942 in London, England. He gained fame at the age of 25 for his role as Roscoe Lever in the classic film The Dirty Dozen 1967. Afterwards, he left acting to become a director and screenwriter with notable works including Little Malcolm 1974 and Overlord 1975, the latter winning the Silver Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. Although highly praised by European critics, he faced financial difficulties in the US and later shifted to documentary filmmaking, showcasing profound humanistic depth in his art. As of 2025, Stuart Cooper is 83 years old, still active in the arts, living in England with an estimated net worth of around $2 million USD. His life stands as a testament to perseverance and creative passion in British independent cinema. Thank you for joining us in exploring the deeply moving stories of the 12 soldiers in The Dirty Dozen, individuals who not only became legends on screen but also led rich, complex lives off it. Through their journeys, we realize that even when facing immense challenges, courage and resilience serve as guiding lights, helping each of us overcome adversity. If you found these stories meaningful and inspiring, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to continue following our explorations of the lives of other cinematic legends. And don't forget to leave a comment below to tell us which story or character from The Dirty Dozen impressed you the most. We look forward to hearing your thoughts. See you in the next videos.